G'day fellas, welcome to a casted game between AgeofKiller, spawning in the east of the map on the Swedes, and his opponent, Kaister, spawning in on the west of the map, playing the Portuguese. In this series, we've got a very special set of rules for you. Every single game is going to be taking place on Saguenay. It's going to be taking place on the summer version of Saguenay. And every single game, Kaister is going to be playing the Portuguese. AgeofKiller, on the other hand, is only going to be playing civilizations that aren't Portugal. Now, you might be wondering, how did this come about? Well, you see, there is a perception within the community that Portugal might be just a little bit too strong. But AgeofKiller, he doesn't think that. In fact, he thinks they're quite weak. In fact, he thinks that they're so weak that he could beat Kaister with both of his hands tied behind his back and using only his tongue to press... Okay, not that much, but he definitely thinks that he can beat Kaister in a best of 7, which is exactly what we've got for you today, where he can play any civ into the matchup and come out victorious. Tell me, Harrison, what do you think about that preposterous
Well, that
hypothesis?
intro, I'm just thinking, where on earth did you get the idea of being tied up, hands behind your back? I would not want to inquire further of where you got that image from.
Well, let's just say I've seen a few Breeze and Crabgot chats before. I know exactly what goes on in there.
What is this in the non-semi-FF gang? The anti-semi-FF gang? Oh god, if those guys get into that kind of stuff, well, fair play. So this is game 1. Sweden is the first pick from AgeofKiller here. What I'm interested to see from Kaister as the series goes on, I think we can talk about the series as a general before the specific matchup, is will Kaister have the same game plan? Will he be reacting to other civs plays, or will he just be dictating his own play, going, right, every game, I'm going water, baby. I'm sending out schooners every game, card 1. Card 1 this game will be schooners for him. So are you expecting some island hopping?
I'm expecting some island hopping. Take a look at the name of the deck. I'm not sure if you can see it from where you are, Harrison. Admin.
Maybe he's just gonna file some papers and just put the stamp on AgeofKiller and file him away into pastime. I don't know what he means by admin, but
it's a reference to AgeofKiller calling for admin in the in one of the Discord servers.
Oh right, yeah, of course, yeah.
Oh gosh, it's very, very sweet.
We are fair, we are honest, we are unbiased casters. If you do suspect any bias coming from us, please email at AussieDrongo at... What's your email address, Drongo? You get a little spam email.
Yeah.
Leave me out this one.
It's harrison@gmail.com.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's it. So yeah, I guess we'll take a look at the deck. We'll see what he's up to. He's got so a surprising lack of cards in the first stage, I would say. So he's missing out on advanced dock. He's missing out on the card that increases the defensive...
Team coastal defenses.
Team coastal defenses. Even you could probably say improved buildings is a card that you could probably include in this matchup, or just include in general in a Portuguese deck.
Well, so it looks like if you are going to water, your main focus will be on the water, and the main ways I've seen you and other players defend the water will be sending the advanced dock or team coastal defenses, and you have both those cards. When you send them both together, they cross multiply and giving you total sea supremacy. The fact that Kaister has not got any of those cards suggests that, yes, he may train water here, he may train fishing boats, he's still sending that villager across to build a dock in the middle of the ponds, but I just don't feel that Kaister's fully investing to defending the water. It feels like advanced dock or team coastal defenses, especially when you're dropping a town centre or an outpost on the island, is just too valuable of a card to not include in your deck.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you. I think it's quite curious. I suspect we might see his deck evolve over the course of the series as he realizes, wait a minute, I need advanced dock. But we've got the town centre now beginning to move out towards the edge of the coast. Taking a little bit of a pause. We'll take a look and see exactly where he places it down. Placing it down just in front of the dock a little bit. He doesn't have his second dock going up just yet, but it's undoubtedly going to get placed with this 400 wood that's coming from the quartermaster. We'll take a look over at AgeofKiller. We'll see exactly what he's up to. Looks like he's going to be securing a treasure to the north. 80 XP. He's got that second shipment already in queue. A couple of expansion going down already towards the south of the map as well, sending out his villagers across the map, going and torping up the side of Kaister. I do like this. I think this is a really smart play and the right thing for him to be doing. Actually see a villager from Kaister moving down towards the south as well, but probably just going to be doing a little bit of herding. I don't think it's going to be going all that extra distance, but I think if he was paying attention, he'd be able to see that the elk was dead on the ground, and that he might want to put some pressure on there.
This is going to be some top-level BM from AgeofKiller. Notice, in his base, he only built one torp. That means he was floating wood in the first stage and sent that villager out far early on. But that very far torp on Kaister's side of the map, on that coin mine, I don't think he's trying to control the coin mine. I think he's trying to control the hunts. And with double torps and their semi-automatic machine guns of fire, we could see all those deers being put to the sword very, very quickly and forcing Kaister to have to commit to the fish for his food source. Because if I'm playing a competitive game as a Swedish, I've got my torp on your side of the map, I'm killing all your hunts because, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do to win the games.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's a huge component of playing the Swedes is essentially isolating your opponent's hunt source or food source. We take a look at from Kaister's perspective, or Kaister's, Kaister's perspective. He's got this one hunt just south of his town center. He's got the one hunt behind his town center, one hunt up to the north of his expansion. But that's really about it. There's nothing else, and both of these hunts are going to get eaten up by torps. As you said, this hunt undoubtedly will get eaten up by torps as well. And yeah, he's going to be left with only a food source out in the ocean. So he's going to really have to commit to that. Beginning to snare down the Explorer. Very curious decision.
Breeze is that much of a beefy boy. All that gym work.
Oh my lord! I didn't even see that. So AgeofKiller took the crack shot, and it looked like Kaister was going to be able to come in and take the treasure. But then the villager just came in and swooped in from the south and took the treasure instead. What a beast. What an absolute beast.
I was literally about to say, like, Breeze's Explorer is that jacked, but for Kaister to do damage, he has to do the siege damage versus for Breeze's brother. But also Breeze, such a big brain play there, feinting the, oh my god, you're stealing my treasure, swooping in with the Vil on the torps. But Kaister, he can see those dead animals starting to mount up. Last time I checked, there was 4 dead deers, maybe just the 3. If Breeze wanted to, he could put more to the swords. There's 3 from the first hunt, 1 for the bottom hunt, so they're slowly dying. Can I make a polite request to view the Swedish deck, please? Yeah,
let's take a look at the Swedish deck. See exactly what we've got. So we've got 3 Vils, we've got blueberries, we've got that 2 Caravel card, as well as the improved warships. Curiously, we also have the Privateer fleet in Age 3. This is a card that we don't normally see used in Swedish decks a lot. We've also got the Frigate and Advanced Artillery. I was speaking a little bit about this card earlier.
Yes.
So I'm a big fan of this card, and I think that in this matchup, especially on this map, this is going to be a really, really, really strong card. So really, I'm excited to see this. Corollians now moving through the base as well of Kaister. Looking like they're just going to put a little bit of damage onto Goober. Goober of the Portuguese Explorer. Town Center putting out some decent damage onto the Corollians, though. Is it really worth the trade, do you think? 5 Corollians for getting a little bit of damage on the Explorer? What do you feel about this, Harrison?
Yeah, no, it's just idling. I think if you're looking at specifically resources lost from the villagers sitting inside the town center, the amount of damage they do and resources being killed, it's still a slightly positive trade there for Breeze. But I think Breeze should have realized, actually, if I can just pick off 1 villager, then that makes all this raid absolutely worth it. That Explorer tanking too much HP there, wasn't going to do anything, and I think Breeze could have had a bit better decision on which target he wanted to acquire. We'll go to the north coast now. Now we'll scout. That Advanced Artillery, really strong. Mortars in the 3rd age there from Sweden if he chooses to send that card. And with an island hop-in, buildings on the island, possibly from Kaister, you can have mortars on one island, attacking buildings on the other island. And the Portuguese Navy may not have the adequate response. I've certainly been dunked on this map a few times in the quick search ladder by Portuguese player who have the water and also have the advanced artillery cards, popping in mortars in the frigate, out of the frigate, destroying a base. But Breeze, knowing Portuguese weaknesses, turning the table against him.
Yeah, I've had it happen to me before. I remember a game I played on Baja, California. Sir Callan was playing the Portuguese, and he was just using colonial militia and mortars, and he was literally taking howitzers around on his frigate just from one side to the other. I was like, oh my god, this is so embarrassing. it was, you know, the Age 3. It was just, it felt terrible. But yeah, it was very, very cool. I learned a lot that game, and I suspect a lot of other people did as well, because it definitely showed that that card is quite a viable card. So I'm a big fan of that card, and I'm very excited to see it potentially used here. We can see that Breeze is now macroing for that age up. He's got his full torp population now. If we take a look at his torps, he's got full 20 out of 20 torps. So he's definitely in a great position. Really happy to be able to do a full boom here, going up against the Portuguese water player, going up with the Exiled Prince.
If we notice the resource income here from Swedish player, one of the changes on the UI is you can see the rate of income of resources. We can see that the Swedish player here right now is at about 2.5k resources per minute. I think that's a rough number. If we head over to the other player, Kaiser on the water, look at that. He's only really on 1800 resources per minute. He has 59 villagers, and you're thinking, guys, look at this Portuguese dominance on the water. There may be a little bit more scaling with some more upgrades to come, but the Swedish eco for the time being, it's looking to be a little bit stronger. I know Kaiser's ahead of that progression of age and possibly technology, but the Swedish player will be growing into this game.
You say that, but he is beginning to scale up now. We see that it's up to 1,500 resources now, so about 2,600, 2,700 resources. So I'm not sure exactly what happened. Perhaps it takes a while to kick in. I think actually it might take a while to kick in. We can actually see it continuing to scale up right now. So he's at about 1,900 food gathered per minute, sitting at about 18, back down to 17 now. See, I think that this is one of the reasons why this is such a difficult to use metric, because you know, when you're considering it based on a minute, there's so many things to consider. So now it's going back up to 18 and back down to 17, but we can see that it roughly works out to be about 2.7 thousand. So I mean, yeah, I definitely hear you. I think that they're definitely quite close when it comes to their economies. We see the Swedish player is about on a similar amount as well. Coming underneath the town center now, going to be sieging down this barracks as well. Keep in mind, Kaiser is in the third age, so he's going to be looking at...
Okay, we got 4 privateers about to hit the floor. Also, Kaister sent in CM, so maybe he gets to see a CM big pop on those Carolines. So potential action top and bottom here. Here comes the 4 privateers. Should be able to take down the single frigate there. Did cost a lot of coin, but Sweden has access to a lot of coin there. So as a power play, I think this drop of 4 privateers is actually going to get some decent work. Here come canoes here from the dock as well. Breeze allying himself with one of the native settlements, possibly Cree for Cree CDB as well at the same time. So yeah, nice play there.
Yeah, I really like this combined push on land at the same time as a water attack. I think it's very good because it sort of divides your opponent's micro and their APM. It forces them. They're going to be losing villages because they're not going to be paying attention to the water. They're going to be losing, you know, their land villages because they're not paying attention to the land. They're trying to run their military away. So they're just, you know, really forcing your opponent to just utilize as much APM as possible. But yeah, really well identified with the native trade post as well picked up. Going with the Cree, you can see he's maxed out those Cree villages as well. Cree villages rather. And really quite happy just staying in the third age he is. He's got that frigate out now as well. I think that's been sent from the home city as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we see advanced artillery as the next card coming out after this. I'd love to see an artillery foundry get dropped and a couple of mortars being trained. But AgeofKiller definitely demonstrating, you know, how to deal with these Portuguese, this toxic Portuguese water boom. We see that he's cleaning it up quite well right now. So a very effective timing. Got a frigate out for Kaister as well. It's just doing a little bit of damage to these Carolians as they're trying to chase away the villagers. 1 HP left on this Carolian. Let's see if the villagers from Kaister can turn around. There they go, finally taking it out, but not before losing one of their friends. Looks like the frigate for Kaister is probably going to be going down here. It's been somewhat cornered up towards the north here. Going to be taken out by the...
Breeze has got to be careful though. There are 2 town centers with colonial militia on 50% extra on their anti-ship damage, 112 damage per shot. And the thing with privateers, high damage for relatively low HP. There's slightly more HP for the Caravel, but they have much more attack. So, you know, keeping these alive, get them to the dock, repair them to the dock is essential. With Breeze, there's no pressure on his docks, so you could argue he could have got all those ships back to his docks to repair, but at the moment Breeze's fleet is looking rather small now.
Yeah, he's definitely lost a few privateers there, including some to the heavy cannons that are now beginning to take up second roles as lumberjacks, chopping down a few trees of their own. And AgeofKiller definitely looking in a bit of a difficult spot. He's got these 2 frigates, but hasn't really done a lot of damage, I would say, on the ocean. You know, he's lost, out of those privateers, he's lost 3 of them. So he's got only a single one that remains. Kaister's managed to hold on. Now, obviously, his water boom has been damaged, but he continues to train, or he continues to hold 20 fishing boats at the moment, which is definitely significant. So Kaister is in a good position, I would say.
I tell you what, honestly, when another frigate does come out onto the water here for Kaister, I want to see these artillery pieces garrisoned into the ship in the fire at ready position in their, their limber mode now. So when they get dropped off on that second island on the right, or well, the far right islands, but they're getting picked off by the hussars here before the walls come up, and that's heavy cannons for, is that just colonial hussars or vet hussars? Even still though, losing heavy artillery here. It's a colonial hussars, my god, forcing the big minutes as well, and here comes the push from frigates on the eastern sea as well. Kaister was nearly ready to drop artillery on the island to control the entire ocean once again, but Breeze pushing it at the right time. The man, 200 IQ plays, it is growing as the game goes on. It's up to 202.
He's doing well. He's doing really well. And yeah, really great pick up there. Managing to get that heavy cannon before the walls came up. We could see that the wall segments were just coming up. These were the last 2 to go up. And unfortunately, you know, the 3 hussars got through. This heavy cannon has got 5 hit points left on it. The other heavy cannon went down, unfortunately. So losing that, a really, really valuable shipment there, that 2 heavy cannon shipment. Heavy cannons considered the best unit in the game by many. And especially good at killing ships as well, doing 600 damage in total to them. So really, really unfortunate and costly error right there, in my opinion, for Kaister. AgeofKiller now sending in the improved warships as well from the home city. So really going to all extents to try and secure his stand next to the water. Still got this dock here, not really expanding onto the water with regard to fishing boats or anything like that. Obviously, Sweden typically doesn't invest a lot when it comes into the water. And the sort of cards that they want to send aren't going to be upgrading the economic side of things, but they do indeed focus on the military side of things quite significantly. And we can see with that improved combat, or improved warship combat.
The artillery drop.
Artillery gets
Here we
dropped.
go, and there's 4 culverins in the frigate. 4
culverins coming up, but they're not in the fire-ready position. Oh, I thought they fired a blank, but it looks like they just focused down the single culverin, and getting a broadside off on the Portuguese culverin, and Breeze able to clean that one up completely.
My heart is racing. A frigate and 4 culverins going down was the possibility there. 1 culverin still left behind, but actually it's going to work out quite well. Kaister might be distracted to take that, but
God.
The quad shot from the culverin instantly one-hit kills a frigate. Just imagine if Breeze drops an arsenal down and he researches heated shot behind this. Entire water control now breeds. Even these culverins, they have their multipliers versus the fishing boats. You know, towers and town sensors, they don't have multipliers versus the fishing boats, but these culverins, anything they see will get annihilated.
Yeah, you're not wrong. They absolutely destroy everything. And one of the things, you did point out, so heated shot, the upgrade from the arsenal, it's going to increase their damage. Instead of being a 10 times bonus, they will go to a 15 times bonus, so going from 400 damage to 600 damage per shot with the culverin, so a huge amount of damage. We don't see that card advanced artillery getting sent in just yet, but yeah, Kaister definitely in a difficult spot. We now see Sweden going up with the engineer as well to the 4th age, so it definitely looks like Sweden's in a good position here, has done a very effective job of shutting down the water. It's I would definitely say it's quite a tough spot from here for Kaister.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Breeze has got 3 trading posts, stagecoach, 5 Crease CDB, full talk population on koi mines, and he's only at 41 vils, or maybe 35 if you're not counting the CDBs. The amount of scaling potential the Swedish eco has from here up to 99 vils and 2 factories, if the game goes mega late, you have to put the balance back into the Swedish favour.
Yeah, I would almost agree with you if it weren't for one factor. This is a water map, and on water maps typically, the deck for the Portuguese player looks like a treaty deck. 1, 2, 3 upgrades for the Caçadores with advanced arsenal. We've got the refrigeration in deck and economic theory as well. My suspicion is that Caçadores and Musketeers are going to be very difficult to deal with for the Swedish player. Especially...
Sorry, a monster just popped out and absolutely dunked on all those culverins. Unless the culverins are retreating in the frigate there. There's no more culverins on that island. one thing came out, and
You're 100%. You're 100% right. I missed that completely. I'm too busy talking about. I don't even remember what I was talking about. I've missed that completely. So the monitors have turned the tide.
Yeah. So look at that. It was the southern dock. The monitor got cut out from the southern dock, out of the range of the culverins. Line of sight on the culverins from the dock. Line of sight, because line of sight from docks is absolutely huge. Plus the industrial age. Long range shot onto those two culverins definitely together. Another monitor came out for the third, and then they both just took on the fourth together. And yeah, was it 2,000 resources worth of artillery there from Breeze gone, water control gone. The Portuguese is back onto the water. Has the tide turned once again?
Well, just as we say that, we see a...
Oh my god, in the canoe!
Yeah,
oh.
He put them over in the canoe, and now we've got the culverins coming out in return, and a second monitor going down. But it looks like Breeze is probably going to be losing both of his, or all of his culverin here, as they finally do go down, the 3 culverins. So, really a battle. I don't even know how to describe this kind of battle. They're literally just dropping calves onto the island, like calve drops. Is that it? Is that the way to say it? Like, what do you call this? It's got to be calve drop, right? Like,
I have a feeling that Kaister did not mean to drop his colves off on the island, but he lost a frigate. But because he was so close to the land, the colves came out of the boat still in their fire-ready position, and just automatically took a shot at Breezes because that was the nearest available target, and they were in aggressive stance. So maybe if Kaister drops it off, fair play. But if not, that is the game working in Kaiser's favor there.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you. It's it's very curious. And now we've got another drop. The fishing boat has dropped the 4 Culverin Royales off here. They're taking shots slowly at Santo Antonio, the frigate of Kaister. Looks like that frigate almost went down. No, the frigate managed to get out of that with 500 health remaining on it. We've now got the walls up for Kaister. 7,500 hit points on these bad boys. I'd love to see some outposts over on these islands to help defend against these incoming attacks. I don't think we've got an arsenal in now, so we do potentially see the option for a heated shot. I'm not sure if it's been upgraded just yet. Take a look at the town centers.
No, he hasn't just yet, but he does have obviously extensive fortifications. He said, I was just checking if it was bastion or not, but the fortified outpost being dropped behind that second layer wall does confirm it was heavy fortifications being sent as the card, which means if he does want to drop an outpost onto the island, it will be fortified, and it will be a nightmare for Breeze to take down without those mortars, which he can now train naturally in the 4th age.
Speaking of mortars, we've now got the monitor coming out. Looks like it's trying its best to get down here. Do we see a potential spyglass down towards the south? Oh no, we've got the monitor shot that's going to go up towards the north, taking out one of the culverin and damaging significantly the other 3, leaving them all with about 50% HP.
When the explosion animation just doesn't go off, it just looks so underwhelming.
It really does, doesn't it?
It's like an acorn falling out of the sky and boop, and just instantly fall apart. But
you're not wrong. I genuinely feel like I think Kaister's actually in a really good position here. Hear me out. So he's got 109 villagers. They're all idle. We've got another monitor coming out now. Here it goes. Shot goes off. Takes out 2 of the culverins with no explosive animation. The 3rd culverin going to be going down here as well. So the monitors are really what rule the sea. It's interesting to sort of know what the interactions are like. Frigates. Everything loses to culverins. Culverins lose to mortars or to monitors. What do monitors lose to? I guess they lose to frigates.
No, they also lose to frigates, but mortars have slightly longer range, so they're less. It is harder to get that cheap shot off, closing up and doing that long range shot out of range there. There's one Hussar having a little sneaky peek through the wall. Was going to get a face full of cannonballs here. Actually providing line of sight there for the culverin of Breeze behind the trees, camouflage behind the maple leaves like a boss. Look at that level, that is camouflage. Easy. That boy has been to military school. He's read his Art of War by Sun Tzu. He knows what he's doing. 3
more Culverin Royale coming out as well. Do we see some Corollians getting ready for a little bit of a seaside trip, Harrison?
A land invasion via the North Islands. It's just going to pop into the boat, but not go straight to the town centre, but just all the way around the edge of the map and drop in behind. So quite a few villages backside. I think that's 3 mils worth of villagers on the back line there for Kaiser. That could be a soft target for him to launch a sea invasion to. Yeah. And the 2 factories. You don't see the factories in the minimap, but that's a great target to go for.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you. I think that might be a definite reasonable response. Not a significant amount of infrastructure in here to defend, but we see Caravel now moving towards the north. Indeed, we've got the 3 Culverin Royale that are getting popped out. Do we have... We've got
spread out, please spread out. Do not just clump up there together.
And straight away,
not
even getting a chance to respond.
Here comes long shot, I think, and that's one Culverin being dropped there. That's I think 2 Culverins gone down, but the 1 monitor being picked up is very nice. But finally, Kaister realizing he needs to invest into warships at the moment. Armor plating being researched, 1 monitor being trained. Has Kaister sent his advanced warships? It looks like he possibly has for the time being. Yes, he has, which obviously increases the HP of the monitor, but also increases the attack of the regular attack and his long range attack, I believe, which he just makes these monsters so strong. And there's the backdoor Caravel raid. No units in there, but that might give Breeze the idea to do so.
Yeah, and now we've got another dock going up because the dock has been taken out by the heavy cannons. So one of the things to note is it's 36 range for the monitors compared to the 28 range of the heavy cannon, or the 32 range, or sorry, 34 range of the Culverin. But now we've got a long range attack. I think that might have been aiming for this fortified outpost. Indeed it was. We see 1,500 hit points taken off it. And we've now got those gunpowder infantry combat cards coming in. So all these veteran Castadors are going to be getting that extra 15% attack, 15% combat. We've also got heated shot being researched at the arsenal as well. So potentially looking for a nice... oh gosh, we've got a little bit of a trade going on here, but it's going to be increasing the attack of all of the docks, all of the town centers. The town center actually going down to 632 hit points right now. Potentially going to be going down completely. I think that's probably what was doing all that damage, or that's what the focus was on earlier from those monitors.
You feel at this point that Kaister really needs to get some sort of land military presence just to help himself out. Maybe just Hussar raids into the Swedish eco. A couple of Dragoons running around has just been annoying. Enough castles here, but they're only veteran. No guard status just yet. Resources available for guard castles as he chooses. Currently has 50 eco population on food. That's a lot of food for the time being. Not at 200 population total, and not actually at that full population. I don't think he's trying to save to age. He's just out of APM. It's somebody called gives you anxiety. He's a coach, Kaister. He needs that extra APM to help himself out in this situation.
It definitely looks like he's struggling with APM. We just see right now, it's almost like he's getting a little bit overwhelmed. AgeofKiller doing a great job on the water right now. A relatively good job as well on the land, just sort of applying pressure at the front. We've got a Culverin down here to the south. No units yet in the base of Kaister from AgeofKiller just yet. But now we've got a Culverin up here to the north that has taken out the heavy cannon, so it's going to allow the monitors to just have a little bit more freedom up here. Avoid getting taken out by these canoes, because we do know that the canoes are going to be able to counter the monitors quite effectively. They do go down to the outposts. The outposts doing 300 damage in total to the canoes, so one-shotting them completely. The Santo Antonio frigate taking down a monitor as well, so quite a decent job of managing to hold on. So he's done well to get up these docks. The fact that he brought this Culverin up here is really what saved the day, because that heavy cannon was doing a lot of work on that island. We take a look back at AgeofKiller's perspective, and he's lost control of both of these islands at the moment. He's given them up completely. He doesn't have any caravels out. So to get over here, he's going to have to use one of his canoes or even one of his fishing boats. On 79 villages now at the moment, so if we do a stock take, he's 79 villages. All of the torps have run out. He does have blackberries, though, so it's something to consider. It's also got the double factory. There's the first and the second down towards the southeast of the map. We take a look at Kaister. He's sitting on 108 villages, double factory, and just a few fishing boats out on the ocean at the moment. Culverins, another drop happening out on the North Island. Managing to lock on to this frigate. It's down to 700 hit points. It goes down. Frigate's getting a great lock. There's a mortar.
The mortar's there as well, but that was a big dunk there from the monitor. That is most of the HP from the two Culverins, and the monitor outranging the Culverins will move into clean and finish the job off there. Looks like just waiting to set up frigate for long range shot, but the monitor not yet taking a shot. But I don't think that's RNG. Maybe it's just Kaister hasn't tasked it yet. But that Culverin not long for this world. But town centers and fortified outposts will just dunk these canoes one by one. I don't think canoes at this point is really a tactical investment anymore, especially when you're up against such a fortified coast here from all these canoes. I think they cost at least 100 wood, maybe 100 wood, 50 coin. Yeah, just 100 wood, but that's enough wood there, in that sense, for a frigate and 2 monitors. That's the type of investment he needs, not canoes doing 0 damage.
I guess we do truly find out if Portugal is not overpowered or not, because, you know, if they weren't, then they'd be able to easily defend these canoes, but the canoes just keep on coming, don't they? And look how many more canoes he's got coming out, just repeatedly sending and sending and sending them. We've now got Mamelukes as well coming in for AgeofKiller, so really going to be demonstrating the fact that the Castadors in Age 3 and even in Age 4 just don't have the melee attack required to fight up against, you know, units as strong as the Mamelukes. But a gap in the wall has meant that he's able to get these through. Still only veteran Castadors for Kaister, so making a bit of a mistake. He's got more than enough resources to get the guard upgrade, but has just failed to do so. He's got 2 barracks. I feel like with 6,000 food stacked up right now, probably should be investing in at least a 3rd barracks. I'll say that much. Guard Carolians.
See him pop there from that town center. He's going to try and sandwich this army. I don't think the CM will help too much when all these units here are guard, but it's a nice added effect, nice extra spend of those resources, and an efficient trade here for Kaiser will ensue. Breeze, he's looking at this, he's thinking, how am I going to break this nut? And maybe in this game, his objective is to contain the Portuguese player to his side of the map, contain the water players, so at least they're fighting for islands. All the trading posts, native and the trade routes trading posts, are currently out of range of any monitors, mortars, any Portuguese units. A potential victory from Trade Monopoly could be on the cards here for Breeze, because I'm not too sure he will have the firepower to break through bastion walls, fortified outposts, Castadors, Colves, and he's not going to break through the water with just canoes. He needs to do something different if he wants to win by conquest, you could say.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But I suspect that with the Mamelukes slowly inching their way forward through this maze of walls and Carolians and houses, that they might be able to get through. We see the Explorer going for a crack shot there, putting out a fair bit of damage onto that Mameluke. How much damage does that actually do? It says 926. It's range damage as well, so it gets reduced down by 40% damage. But I'd love to see Kaister actually finish these walls up and then be able to hold in here a lot more effectively.
Bramboy in the chat, Breeze's plan is to sacrifice so many canoes that a land bridge forms.
Oh, okay, it makes perfect sense. Yes, we've seen this strategy used multiple times throughout history. So we'll see how it plays out today. My suspicion is that it's probably going to work out the same way that Kaister's strategy is working out. So he's going for the Jesus strategy, which is where essentially you take 12 fish and you turn them into 7,000 fish. And that's exactly what's happened here. So Kaister now stacking up close to 7,000 resources. Not sure exactly what he's planning to do with it all. Perhaps he's going to feed the many people that have arrived all of a sudden because they are quite hungry. And, you know, the telling point for me in this game, Harrison, really, is that we're at 28 minutes into this game, and there's still fish in this sea. A lot of people say that there's not enough fish in the sea. There's plenty of fish in the sea.
Not this again. Not this again. Like, it's been like the phrase of the month, but now into June, like 3 months down the line from originally conceived. Like, that's old school news. Like, when Age of Empires 4 comes out, we're looking at the water play going, yeah, the naval units are good. This is pretty good. Fish is pretty strong. Not enough fish in the sea, though. And you have all the Age of Empires 2 players going, what on earth is this guy chatting on about? Has he lost his mind?
Well, you want to know, in Age of Empires 4, there's actually deep sea fish that replenish themselves over and over and over again. So, like, you mine them out, and then they'll come back after a little bit of time. So there is quite literally infinite fish in the sea in Age of Empires 4. So that joke. Yeah, Harrison, you're just technically wrong, all right, mate? Just, you know.
I'm certainly wrong. Right, back to this game. Can you do me a favour and check through military upgrades of both players? I don't think Breeze has got his Creed tanning bonus from the Creed training post. Oh, he does actually. I'm proven wrong again, but I know that Kaiser hasn't. I just wanted to check that because that is so valuable and so strong for only like 200 resources. But I'm looking for armory tax and cards being sent as well.
Yeah, I think, look, at this point, Kaister is definitely saving up, probably towards that infamous 10,000 banquet. That 10,000 banquet.
Top islands. What's up there?
This is canoes. So the land bridge we talked about earlier. This is the land bridge that's being created.
It just feels so weird seeing like all these canoes flying the Swedish flag. It's just like, is this history? Is this just it's just Age of Empires? Anything happens. It's quite funny to see. I was expecting one of them.
The Culverin roll popped out.
But the thing is, Kaister sees this, he just selects his monitors and the hotkey and just special attacks that and they all die. Another boop's coming in.
Oh my lord.
Frigates launching their broadsides, and because of the extra HP from the HP from the improved warships and armor placing, all the ships still standing. That was about 3,000 resources of artillery just going.
Just instantly gone. Yeah. So Kaister actually managing to come out ahead on this. I love it. He's got the 3 frigates up, the 2 monitors in the back, taking shots off at the other mortars as they continue walking away. Well, swimming away, rather. I think Kaister's got this. I think he's absolutely fine. I think he's been able to...
He's pushing the Swedish player back on water. What I'd really like to see is really boss in the water, take the island, put outposts on the island.
Oh my lord.
Artillery is flimsy. We've seen this game so far, but a couple of outposts here can at least tank some damage from monitors while your ships can do the damage in the back. He's actually pulling back the monitors out of the range, have the frigates in the front line tanking the damage. That monitor's having to fight the frigates, which, you know, it looks impressive, but they don't do much damage. The frigates from Kaister just ripping through the Swedish boats at the moment, and looking on land, not much is happening. And if not much is happening on the land and you're losing the water, you need to do something.
So a bit of a mistake being made here by AgeofKiller, not popping these into bombard mode before sending them over. They're just going to be ending up going over in limber mode. And very easily, Kaister could have been pulling these frigates back, but he didn't.
Lock on.
Oh, it was very, very close. He just needed to maintain line of sight, and he would have continued with that lock. So now Kaister is in a bit of a difficult spot, managing to throw away those resources. I'd love to see a few more docks trained from him. So he's now up to 12,000 food. We talked about this a little bit earlier. He was originally saving for that banquet. He's now surpassed that well and truly. So going to be going for the Golden Feast, which is an achievement that you get. So if you've got 50,000 food in the bank, and we see a monitor going down to the north to the Culverin Royale, just doing so much work. They do have that bonus against fishing boats, of 15 times bonused.
This is where you could argue you want a few mortars instead of just the Culverins, or maybe a mix. So you start putting pressure on the buildings, which is stopping the Swedish armada actually pushing in. Now all the ships down, great, but you need mortars to really put pressure on the fortified outpost. Those Culverins are now in range of the outpost. The outpost does siege damage. It's not going to work too well.
You know what else isn't going to work too well, Harrison? When you've got 13k food and you send refrigeration from the home city.
Yeah, I did notice that. That was quite cute. but look at his Culverins though, getting picked off there by an outpost. Okay, a couple Culverins by the dock and town centre. That's actually a really nice placement there from Kaister. I don't think Breeze really saw that until it was too late. May have traded off a couple for just one Culverin there, but losing another wave of artillery. And bam! Here comes another monitor shot. This is the damage dealers. This is the mortars. Mortars are the damage dealers. Culverins are nice for, you know, trying to trade off some of the warships, but it's actually, if you want to push the water, you need to really commit to it. And 5 Culverins is nice for the warships, but if you need to back it up there behind with monitors, I still would like to see. At the moment, Kaister's weakened on the coast. He hasn't got a full defense here. If that mass of Guard Caroleans was in a caravel and dropped right on the top side and sieging the factory, then Kaister's dilemma, this is like a siege of Stalingrad here, just endlessly spamming units out like walls. It's just not going to work, and I think Breeze is just throwing lots of resources and just running into a brick wall here quite figuratively. He needs to pull back here. His option is the coastline, and if Kaister really wants to be that top level 300 IQ play, he needs to take a page out of Corax's book and wall up the coast.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's getting to a point now where I'm a little bit concerned for Kaister at the north of the map. We've got 3 frigates, 2 monitors, and a lot of canoes behind this. We've also got caravels up towards the north as well. So it looks like AgeofKiller almost going for a final death push over here on water. But at the same time, we've got Kaister, who's going for his own death push on land, heading in with the Janit Dragoons.
So look at Kaister's line of sight. He hasn't even scouted the other side of the map. He has not even crossed the other side of the map with an explorer, with a hussar, with anything. This is the first time he's crossed the trading line, and we're at 34 minutes. Like, get out your improvement checklist and get the scouts your enemy opponents to find out what he's doing. That is how you get better at the game.
You're not wrong. That is 100% true. But unfortunately, we do see that the Mamelukes are now engaging the Cassadors into melee combat. And if there's one thing we know about Cassadors in melee combat, they do not do particularly well, especially against Mamelukes. Now we've got some Dragoons down towards the south that are beginning to engage. But my fear at this point is that Kaister's in a bit of a difficult spot, but it looks like the military from AgeofKiller's actually dwindled down from just the amount of forces that were back here. We've got more and more outposts going down, but despite that, look at all the docks that we've got up here. We've got 4 docks. Look at all of the units that are getting trained out of these docks. We've got 1 frigate, 1 galleon, 1 frigate, 1 monitor, 1 caravel, 1 galleon. It's just a huge amount of stuff, and they're slowly taking out these outposts. I'm going to be able to clear out the all of the fortified outposts, but my suspicion is that once all of these get taken out, we're going to have galleons on the coastline.
I just realised something obvious.
What's that?
All this time, Breeze has scouted the frigates. He has long-range abilities with monsters. Just go in there and nuke one of the factories. As soon as you take a factory off the board, the rest of the game, you're up relatively in eco. Take the second factory, and that is near enough disaster for a late-game economy. And although he's working his way slowly in the outposts, he's only now managing to reach the factories. But yeah, I think the factories on the coast should have been priority #1. And we're talking about that land military invasion. Just imagine if you dumped off mortars now. He'll pick off the plantation, double factory, a couple houses.
Well, there goes the first
Clean
factory.
up all the villagers. This is
Culverin now coming out.
This is tough. This is tough.
No blank shots taking down the first monitor. No other monitors available at the moment. Looks like they're just going to be focusing their efforts on taking down... Oh, they're focused down the galleon. Not what they want to be focusing down. Ideally want to be focusing down these frigates. He's got the double artillery foundry on the backside here. They're both working overtime at the moment. One of the frigates just getting a broadside off.
Broadside's just cleaning, picking up so many coals there, but it feels like unless there's immediate reinforcements, he's sending canoes, just spamming out units. This is the moment where you feel a land invasion will just win the game, but I think he's just trying to cause damage. At least he's trying to trade off warships now with units. That's going to help his land push. If he distracts units on the top side, military units on the southern side can push in and have an easier time. Kaiser's still ahead in score, possibly ahead in resources. I know he's critically low on wood and coin, and at the moment he's wood starved. The only wood he's got is on that top line by the mill. He's not really able to chop too much wood at the moment. His coins from the plantations and the factory, well, he's just lost 1 factory. Yes, so what if you have 8k food? I bet the sell price of the food at the moment is absolutely terrible. And Breeze, he's still pretty got mines being talked. Might send him a mine card. Breeze is having a lovely time here in Saguenay.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And now we've got the army finally bypassing the walls on the front of the base. Going to be getting dropped off by the frigate. We've got heavy horse guns on the back line as well. Going to be opening up onto the culverin, taking them out completely. I suspect this might be the end of the game for Kaister. It's been 36 minutes. It's been absolutely grueling, but it looks like AgeofKiller is going to manage to come out on top in this game, in this matchup, proving that Sweden, especially in this matchup, can deal with Portugal on water, no matter how good. And Kaister in the chat saying, God, I'm shit. And I tell you what, I couldn't agree any more with Kaister. This is one of the rare times I agree with him.
Brutal. My opinion on that one is everything was going so well, but I just feel that there was just a little lack of buildings being invested into the islands. As if I'm a player managed to get a couple outposts on the islands, even if Breeze had gotten up to fortified outposts, maybe not a frontier outpost, maybe not the fortified ones or the top tier ones. Just extra bit of buildings, extra bit of fire, extra bit of control, and both players were just fighting for the islands continuously. No player ever really got a dominant hand to the water, and in a game like this, as soon as you control the water and you've shut off your opponent from the water for good, you've won the water. It's fine. It's fine at that point. But both players were just never able to zone each other off the water, and we spent most of the time looking at those warships at the top. Everything else is basically secondary to that.